I would like to start with the really first news. EU authorities dismantle 600 million crypto fraud network. And it shows, and I think we're always discussing quite positive news with the crypto assets, with the stable coins, with the Bitcoins. Definitely it's new market. We're educating ourselves, the businesses looking and thinking about business models that are applicable to this market. It should be really well understood that the technology is always bringing the possibility to do the frauds new way. And having the crypto frauds, having the crypto networks which are used in fraudulent activity is something that can happen. And we need to embrace ourselves. We need to keep our critical thinking and understand that when we're doing certain things, we should be aware that there might be a possibility for the frauds, and we should educate ourselves how to use those tools efficiently without any financial losses.
Well, this news is not only about the trust of people. This is also about the fact that how wide the network, a fraud network, can be spreaded. Because it's not only one European authority who found this network and dissolved it. It's a series of entities, legal entities, authorities from different European countries like Germany, Cyprus, Czech Republic, who work together, and basically they demonstrate that they can build an interesting force, a very strong force for disabling such kind of a network. It was a network that we're using for laundering quite a huge amount of assets, like 600 million euros. It's a big numbers. It's a big number. Those assets were laundering via quite complex and complicated chain of wallets around inside of European Union, outside of European Union, and unfortunately there are not so big details about what kind of criminal activity those guys were doing. But we know for sure that it was a big hit on the market. We know by sure that the fraud market. We know that this is a big hit for not a hit, but showing big force of enforcement of the law, and a lot of people just raised awareness that something like this is happening. I hope that this will not decrease the level of trust to cryptocurrency that simple users or financial institutions have. Vice versa, maybe financial institutions will have much more strict rules, maybe based on the cases that authorities found out. Some recommendation letters will arrive to different banks and institutions around the European Union, and we will have a much more regulated structure, regulated laws that will allow us to work to work better and to avoid and to minimize the fraud possibility.
It's important to stress that those non-authorized or fraudulent activities were used for scamming people, because the fake investment opportunities were introduced. And that's a general rule that I would like everyone to follow. When you see something which is better than the market that you usually see, ask yourself why it's happening, because fairly, no one is giving the free cheese. It's only exists in a trap. So if you're facing the activities which are prompting or promising you something out of the standard market, and there is no efforts for having this, be aware that you have critical thinking to check, ask all the questions, and protect yourself. So be safe and sound with the financial knowledge and protecting yourself against the scammers.
Very good advice, because usually first red flag that can appear is the fact that someone is promising you with no effort, which is first red flag. Investing a good sum of money, you can achieve something twice more than the average deposit percent that you will get from a classical bank or classical financial institution. And if those people are telling you that this is not a high risk investment and give you 10-15% of revenue, of dividends from your investments, by sure this is a big red flag, and you have to be very, very aware. If a national bank of your country gives, a rate of interest something around 4%, then maximum that a normal good financial company can give you is 6, maybe 8, and that 8% will be already flagged as a high risk. But when you hear something like 10 or 16 or 15%, in case when your national bank of your country is giving only 4% of interest rate, it's very, very possible that this is a high risk, not a high risk, this is a scam, and you have to be very cautious with this.
Let's back to the news that we actually communicated back during the summer about the Western Union, because Western Union had acquired another network in United States, and it jumps into the race with the cryptocurrencies. So Western Union is planning to issue dollar-based stablecoin to facilitate their own cross-border transfers. And it's kind of logical, because the whole business model for the Western Union is to have really good, flexible, and fast payments from one branch to another. And here we are. The technology is facilitating it. So, in one way, it says that big companies like that, they acknowledge they don't have other ways to solve the cross-border payments, which is free, has less fees. And it seems that it's really good practical case, because when, I don't know, new startups, they saying that's the way how they do it efficiently, that's understandable. But when the company like Western Union with the budgets for R&D, for operations, they acknowledging the stablecoin one of the way for them to be operational effective, that proves the case.
Previously, we were talking about scams with cryptocurrency and stablecoins. Here is the antipode news that big companies are embracing stablecoins. Yes, Western Union basically take the biggest advantage of stablecoin is make your life easier when you're doing cross-border transfers. For Western Union, cross-border transfers is the main side of a business. I mean, this is the business model, the root of this company. By the way, 170 years being on the market is a good, it's a strong number. Western Union is doing this, in my opinion, because they want to get everything to be easy. They want to get it in a second. Let's not forget about that SWIFT also is implementing blockchain in the cross-border transfers. This is it's not a trend, it's already a reality. So if you want to make a cross-border payment transfer easy, you have to embrace stablecoins. Possibly Western Union will a little bit change the business model here, because some new opportunities will appear for earning some money on exchange fees, but at the same time providing also transparency for the customers, because you basically, as a customer, you have a strict and understandable equivalent evaluation of what the money you are sending to the money that will be received to your counterpart in another country of the world. Western Union is an old company, and it's a really bureaucratical one because it's a big company. It has to be quite bureaucratical. I'm a little bit surprised to see that in such a bureaucratical company, good meaning of this word, they embraced this. I just imagine that those people, that team who pushed this topic internally, did huge lobby and absolutely great job on this, on promoting this. It's super simple for Western Union, being an American company, also to link its stablecoin to United States dollar. It will give, of course, a bit of headache between American regulator and Western Union and their relationship and collaboration. But I'm sure that this thing will be just a good success for that company. Optimization of the cost, increasing the speed and velocity of transfers, and of course, the transparency, even in settlements.
That's really good. Thank you for your quite detailed overview. And do you have the last news for us?
We have a very interesting news. It's a new step in cryptocurrency. It's a new step in making cryptocurrency a more trustable asset than it was before today. JPMorgan told officially, they made a statement that they will accept crypto as collateral for their customers, for their clients. So JPMorgan Chase plans to allow for some, currently only for some selected institutional customers. So let's just point this out. For some institutional customers, to use cryptocurrency as a collateral for the credit lines and trading exposure. This information came via Bloomberg, and that basically proves that these moves represent one of the most notable steps that for crypto, that a major US bank is making a big steps toward digital assets integration into classical banking network. We were discussing about this for several months, Igor. So what's your perspective on this? Why do you think JPMorgan made this step?
I think it's acknowledging that a lot of assets actually are stored in the crypto. Usually with the technology, we have two functions, the value of transfer and the value of storing. And one of the way which we're talking a lot, the stable coins, cross-border transfers, it's the value of sending the funds. Because if I'm sending the money from Hungary to Argentina, if I'm using SWIFT, the fee and the timing will be different if I'm using some stable coin to settle the transaction between us. So that's quite clear. But we are not talking enough, and we're not acknowledging when the crypto is becoming the asset. And when JPMorgan is accepting as a collateral asset the crypto, it means it's a new step as a financial asset, and it's acknowledged that a lot of value is held in the crypto. We have big volatility because usually JPMorgan is accepting the collateral assets depending on their volatility, and it shows that JPMorgan at this stage at least have an appetite to embrace and work with the volatility that blockchains or crypto assets are having and still use them as a collateral for different business cases. It's first door, I think, or first case. We will see it happening much more on the market, and it's a great move. It shows that it's unavailable. We are going to use the stable coins, the crypto transfers more and more, and one day we will be able to buy a coffee with the crypto card.
We currently can buy a coffee with crypto card, but yeah, you need to make a lot of actions and you have to research a lot to do this.
Not true, because that's a trick that I have, because in the end of the day, the settlement in the Visa or MasterCard will happen with a specific country currency, because I don't know, when you're buying a coffee at Joy's in London, the payment will be done in GPD. You will go through the network and it will settle with the acquiring terminal of the merchant, which is once again is using fiat, and then the card issuer will be charged with the fiat. Maybe on your Bitcoin, balance on the specific vendor, it will be the swapping. Basically, you will pay a specific amount in Bitcoin, but the settlement still happening in fiat. It's a meme. Like when we see what is inside, like the Scooby-Doo meme, when you're taking the material and trying to see who is under the cover, we still see the fiat. And what I mean here, when it's going to be the moment when we will see the end-to-end usage of the crypto as a main currency for settling for the cup of coffee. Because I might be in a different country, I might use, buying something in Thailand, but being away from Thailand. And if I'm going to settle with the cryptocurrency or even stablecoins, it will show that here we are. We're living in a world where the fiat and cryptocurrencies, they're living hand by hand as a peers, rather than leading from fiat as a subdivision or subcategory as a cryptocurrencies as sub-asset.
But what I mean by research is you have to research the institution where you are ready to put your assets, crypto assets, and keep them in a trusted place that will allow you also to pay with a card, to pay in crypto. Okay, now we as a user, we don't care. It's fiat settlements. It's not fiat settlement. You're totally right. And when we will have such a moment, when it will be crypto to crypto settlements and everything will be linked to one single thing. But now simple users need to make a research to find a very trustful partner. The same path had neobanks at the beginning of their history, when people were not super trusted to put all the assets into a Revolut account or N26. Now things changed, and the same thing it will be also in crypto. And because JPMorgan Chase entered here, and not only them, they some good interest, some big banks also from the States are embracing this. This thing also will arrive to Europe, and I think maybe in 5 years, okay, we can make even a bet and shoot this and come back in 5 years with this recording. But I have an impression that in 5 years, everything what you mentioned in details will happen, and we will have this pay by crypto, coffee by crypto, settlements by crypto in the same time.